Splatoon 2 had a lifespan of 2 years, July 2017 to July 2019, or the time period that I like to call when life was worth living. After Chaos vs. Order, Nintendo effectively discontinued Splatoon 2 before kicking its dead corpse a bit more to make more money before announcing Splatoon 3. So Splatoon 2 had a lifespan of 2 years, which was just about a quarter of the Switch's lifespan. Yet Nintendo forgot they needed to support their franchises to make money in 2019, so I'm sure that we'll see Nintendo actually support Splatoon 3 for a while longer, while they don't release any other games in the Splatoon franchise. But if Nintendo wants to keep supporting Splatoon 3 all the way until the next console, in like the earliest 2025, that would mean they need to keep Splatfests going for at least 3 years. To put that into perspective, they would need 36 Shifty Station maps. So if Nintendo were to support Splatoon 3 for 3 years, how exactly would they do it? Well, for starters, Nintendo would finally need to give in and put ranked battle in Splatfest. Like seriously, there was no reason not to do it. The closest thing to a reason would be to not have to make Shifty stages compatible. And in that case, just leave the Shifty Stations exclusive to Turf War. If adding ranked battle modes to Shifty Stations would hurt how creative the maps can be, then it's best just to leave them in Turf War and maybe make a new Splatfest exclusive mode that uses that. Second is probably the hardest to deal with. 36 Shifty Stations. That is quite an ask. So how can this be mitigated? Well, for starters, Nintendo could begin to have some Splatfests that reuse good Shifty Stations from Splatoon 2. Emphasis on good. Like seriously, Nintendo would really have to listen to community feedback on Shifty Stations, because this is an idea that is a very easy thing to mess up. There have been some seriously bad Shifty Stations. Another idea we had was just to use maps from Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2 that don't make it into Splatoon 3, and use them as a Shifty Station. It's a good way to use old assets without forcing us to play on the same maps constantly for, by that time, 6 years. My third idea is to reuse Shifty Stations they make for Splatoon 3 over again. Maximum of twice though. Maybe let's say on the 5th Splatfest, they have this unique Shifty Station, and later on the 18th Splatfest, they use it again. Like seriously, I think this is a scenario where reusing content is okay, because they barely allow us to have access to the Splatfest maps after that Splatfest, and using them twice would be a way to just let us go back on maps that we might really like a whole ton. Another new thing I'd like from Splatoon 3 Splatfests is a new mode. Pro Turf War is not enough. Like seriously, you need to do more than stick the league power calculator on and disable friends from joining you to call it Pro. So we've established that Pro Turf War needs to go. What could it be replaced by? It doesn't need to be something too complicated, but I think that it should be a new Splatfest exclusive mode. It doesn't need to be something too complicated, but I think since this would be a Splatfest exclusive mode, it should be playable on all Shifty Stations. I established before that I think ranked battle shouldn't be accessible on Shifty Stations, as to not limit Nintendo's creativity in map design, but a Splatfest exclusive mode and Splatfest exclusive stages should be compatible. It just makes a lot of sense. Now what exactly should this mode be? Well, my first idea was the scrapped rocket mode from Splatoon 2. Maybe they could finalize the concept and put it into Splatoon 3 as a Splatfest exclusive mode. However, there was a reason Rocket was scrapped, and it's because it's way too similar to tower control. So that once again leaves us with the question of what should the new Splatfest mode be? And fortunately for us, we don't need to figure it out. Nintendo does. They aren't paying me to come up with ideas. But you know, Nintendo, if you wanted to, I'm down to start next week. Finally, Splatfest should have more connection with Splatoon 3's Horde mode. Splatoon 2 had some connection with Salmon Run, with weapons usually being all random during Splatfest, but that's not really enough for a game as interconnected as Splatoon is. Maybe have something special happen in this new Horde mode if a Splatfest is going on. Something more than just random weapons, or just something besides that. The more ways to make the modes feel more special during Splatfest, the better. So, in conclusion, we should get Splatfest for 36 months. We need ranked battles in those Splatfests. It's okay to use some, and keyword some, stages for Shifty Stations. Splatfests need their own mode, and the new Horde mode should have more connection to the Splatfest that's going on in Splatoon 3. Alrighty boys and girls, I will be back on Friday when I will start part 1 of 2 of 100 things I want from Splatoon 3. From little things to big things, I'm going to cover every single Splatoon 3 idea that pops into my ADHD riddled brain. Alright guys, I will see you next time. See ya.